wanting somebody that looks like them, sounds like them, knows what the struggle of what they're going through to speak and talk about it. Like, a digital platform, you got to put it out there. You got to keep putting content out there, keep pushing as much as you possibly can. That gathered a lot of attention. And then once you get their attention, it's keeping that attention. We're tired of the fake. We're tired of the lies. We're tired of the talking points. We're tired of the stupid jokes. Be who you are, speak. Your vibe will come through, and that's what people see on digital platforms. The reason why things like that work and happen is because you mentioned it is authenticism. People, even in digital clips, are tired of like the fake. When you have worry and you have anger, you have attention.
Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Hello Merge Tag, a podcast about social media, politics, and where they intersect. We check in with candidates, consultants, strategists, and more to find out what's working and what's not in the political digital world. I'm your host, Josh Clemens of Reverbal Communications. We help progressive campaigns and organizations win the internet. Have questions you want answered on the pod? Have a guest or topic recommendation? Just want to say hey? Drop us a line at hello@reverbalcommunications.com. Find all episodes at hellomergetag.com or wherever you stream podcasts. Now let's dive in. Look out, Facebook. Now you can drive website visits directly from Civic Shout. Introducing Express CPC, Civic Shout's new cost-per-click ad system. Everyone already knows that Civic Shout's the best way to grow your opt-in email list. Folks like M&R, Greenpeace, and Feeding America stand by it. So can you. Grow your list and run traffic campaigns that hit so hard, your team will wonder how you did it. Environmental Action called Civic Shout a wildly better way to grow your email list. And Clarify Agency saw a 200% return on ad spend in just 2 months. Civic Shout, the ad platform for progressive causes. Head to civicshout.com/partners to learn more. That's civicshout.com/partners. Hey y'all, quick note before we dive in. If you're enjoying this podcast, please consider leaving a review on Apple, Google, or wherever you listen. We're also putting every episode on YouTube now, so if you prefer your digital deep dives with video, head on over that way. You can find all links plus lots more at hellomergetag.com. And if you're already watching on YouTube, hey, apparently I am legally obligated to say, please like and subscribe. So go ahead and do that. Okay, thanks, y'all. Back to the show. Marine, mechanic, sports radio host, raised in a trailer park, fighter for the working class. That's how Nathan Sage describes himself. He also calls himself a loudmouth and a tattooed, hairy, fat guy who says it how it is. At first glance, he looks and sounds almost MAGA, but he's running for Senate as a proud progressive, aiming to be a voice for Iowans who've been left behind by both parties, and he's running one hell of a digital program. I'm excited to host him on the pod today to talk about what's working for him on digital these days. So Nathan, first of all, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you making the time. I know you must be very busy. You've never run for office before, but you're making huge waves in an extremely consequential seat. How did this happen?
Well, I think when you look at it, I think people are asking for a working class candidate. People are wanting somebody that looks like them, sounds like them, knows what the struggle of what they're going through to speak and talk about it. And, I have a degree in journalism, mass communication. I know how to talk. I was in radio for a while. So obviously I know, how to have conversations. And I think being someone who grew up the way I grew up, went through what I went through, went to Iraq, did all the things and can talk about it. I think speaking the way I speak in a digital platform, putting it out there for people to see, resonate with people because it's their thoughts, it's their feelings, because I'm one of them. And especially here in Iowa, when I speak about the things that I'm speaking about, it's what people are going through. It's what they've been going through. It's what they've been asking for. They want someone, and that's what you mentioned. I've been busy. We're doing the 99 county tour. We've learned that people are fearful. People are angry, and that's what we've been going through, working class people here in Iowa this whole time. So I think that's why is someone like themselves to speak on the issues and put it out there continuously. Like, a digital platform, you got to put it out there. You got to keep putting content out there, keep pushing as much as you possibly can. And I think that's why we're in the position we're in, because I think at the end of the day, we need working class representation, especially if you look at Washington, D.C., made up of 98% generational wealth. We need only 2% come from the working class. We need working class representation. People know that, and they're excited for someone that sounds like them.
Do people care more about your background or your values, or is it impossible to separate those two? I'm curious which is resonating more out in the world.
I think when it comes to it, people are interested in my background. They're very interested in where I come from, what I'm doing, but they also, everywhere we've ever been, everywhere, somebody comes up, shakes my hand and goes, "You're real." Because they haven't had that. They haven't had those those real people, the real speak, the real talk, what we're really going through. And I think so background resonates with people, but I think speaking the way I speak about the issues, being very blunt, being very honest and forthright, I think a lot of people are like, yes, this is exactly what we need, because we haven't had it. We've had the same politicians come in, say the same things, and nothing changed. And I think they see change. It's almost like they see it in me, and then they hear it, and they're like, this guy's talking about what we're talking about.
Yeah, like your working class identity. Like a lot of progressives talk about meeting working class voters where they are, but so many in DC, you know, don't actually have any idea where working class folks are. So I have to imagine that's like a huge impediment for them, and like an opportunity for you to be able to talk to people and like not say like, I feel your pain, but like literally, dude, I fucking feel your pain. Like we're on the same page right here, you know?
Well, that's also my frustration as well. Like, honestly, when we have the other candidates, you know, across the board that say things like, I know what it's like to work in a working class family. I know what it's like to grow up in, you know, economic poverty. I know what it's like to go through things. And it's like, they start saying it after I've already been talking about my life, because they understand that's what people are wanting. And so for me, that's the frustrating part, is like, now everybody's a working class candidate. Now everybody's, you know, gone through this and gone through problems that we've never heard from before. But it's just, for me, it's people that are understand, because we speak a certain way, we talk a certain way, and that's why everybody always is like, Nathan, you cuss. Well, that's how we fucking talk. That's how we chat. That's how we joke. That's why people know that I'm not the run-of-the-mill politician.
Yeah, actually, I'll jump ahead to a question I had later. So I work with a candidate who curses a lot. She's a woman, and most folks don't care, but the people who care so much. And I am curious, like, have you been getting a lot of pushback? I'm curious, as a guy, if people give you the same shit that they give her, or if it's like, no, you can get by with it because you look like, because you grew up in a trailer park, and people are like, yeah, whatever, it is what it is.
You know what is funny? It's the older women that are not scared to tell me at all how they feel. And they will come up, and it's always interesting. It's always funny to me, because you'll have one that will be like really sweet and be like, Nathan, you're saying the right things. I love what you stand for. I love your history. I love everything about you, but you gotta stop cussing. And then like right behind her in line is another exact same woman comes up and goes, love what you're saying, but you got to be angry, or you got to cuss more. Don't stop fighting. And it's so, I feel like that's that fine line that I'm walking right now.
And I mean, it is pretty rare. Like, I've been very, like, again, I work with this one candidate, so like I'm very like tapped into it. But like, yeah, you're dropping F-bombs. I'm like, whatever. I mean, which is how real people talk. And like, to me, it's like, it's who you are. Like, trying to pretend you're somebody else is literally the antithesis of what you're doing. But it is funny to have people being like, maybe you could just be a little bit more like them. you know, try to help you out as if like they understand what, you know, who you're talking to. So you were new to politics when you jumped into this race. I assume you started your social channels at zero, but you've grown like very large following since getting in. What's worked for you best to grow and reach your audience?
I mean, it's a lot of trial by error, right? You got to, like, you know, obviously we had a great video. We had a great people produce help us with that, put that out there. That gathered a lot of attention. And then once you get their attention, it's keeping that attention.
Yeah. What do you do with it?
Putting content. You got to keep talking. You got to keep putting the issues out there. When something pops up on social media, you got to talk about it, and you got to try everything. Like, we did a Zoom meeting with Jasmine Crockett back in July, and she was very adamant about, Nathan, you're a no-name politician. You got to be everywhere. Podcasts, you know, TV, newspaper. You got to try everything, especially digital. You got to go everywhere and be on everything. And so for me, like, putting it out there, being willing to have the conversations like with my staff and be like, hey, maybe you could try saying it a little bit differently. But it's also that fine line, because for me, how I talk and how I am is me. Like, when people call me real, I don't want people to ever think that I'm being fake or being, you know, not who I am. So it's that fine line of like, yeah, that those are good things I need to make sure I'm talking about, but I also got to say it in a manner that is me, and a manner that people are going to resonate with people. And I think that's the key. And I think that's what we've done, is put content out for people to see, like, hey, this guy is being real. He's talking about the issues in a real manner that you just don't see politicians doing. And I think that is what needs to be done, not just here in Iowa, but across the country. We're tired of the fake. We're tired of the lies. We're tired of the talking points. We're tired of the stupid jokes. Be who you are. Speak. Your vibe will come through. And that's what people see on, you know, digital platforms.
has it been natural for you to like be, I'm not going to call you a social first campaign. You're doing 99 counties in 99 days. Like clearly you've got like a much larger campaign, but like what I see is the digital side, and it feels like you feel like a digital native to me. And I'm curious is that true, or has it been like, you've had to like process the idea that like, oh fuck, I got to make a video today?
Well, it's kind of like when I was in radio, I used to make advertising all the time and write ads and practice those. So it's kind of like that for me. I'm not used to the holding the camera. So like if you watch my, a lot of times I'm walking because it's just more comfortable for me to be walking, sure, moving around. And in general though, talking to people about issues or talking in general, that's not the problem for me. It's just putting my hairy, fat, tattooed ass out in front of everybody to let them know who I actually am.
Yeah, absolutely. So, just real quickly, I am curious, like your content workflow. So yeah, there's some stuff where you're holding the camera, but then you've also got like a team with you capturing moments. I'm just curious, like how much, so many campaigns, digital is clearly an afterthought. They're like, well, we did this cool thing. Let's like, what can we pull together? But it doesn't feel like that with you. Like you're out of town halls, you're meeting people, you've got cameramen. I'm just curious, how much is your campaign investing in digital? Like, is it that your campaign manager is standing next to you with a camera, or do you have a digital person with you? I think so many folks see social as an afterthought, which is a huge detriment to their campaign. So I'm just trying to like help folks learn from folks who are like actually investing in it.
It's not really as complex as what people think it is, and doesn't have to be that way. We do have a digital guy that helps edit videos and do things like that. Yeah, I get on him more about the music because I'm the way I like when it comes to music.
It's very heavy music.
Yep, right.
It's awesome.
But then it is my campaign manager. It is my staff. It is people at the events, multiple cameras, making sure that you're capturing as much as you possibly can, video, audio, pictures, whatever you can, because it's about building that content and then producing it and putting it out there. And you never know what you're really going to get. Obviously, sometimes I'll speak in a crowd and you get like the one that blows me away. We were doing a event in Cedar Rapids, and it was the girl talking about the bailout for Argentina. And I was answering that question, and that got so many views and so many likes and so many reactions. And I was like, I didn't even do anything. Like they just asked me a question. I answered it, but it was that we had the camera behind her that actually saw that. You had the audio from it, which picked that up. And all of that together puts for that moment that people are capturing, and says it helps them see the environment, understand what's going on. And I think that's what you need. You need staff members. You need people willing to just throw up that camera, always have it open, always have it ready to go.
In my like I've seen a lot of your content, but I approach it differently when I'm like talking to you. That was, I think, in your top 2 or 3 posts of like all your channels. Like that video, like was that like, I have like a platform that helps me like easily see like which content was the best, or as far as numbers. And yeah, I think that was like number 2 after the launch video, or maybe even number 1. Like that thing really blew up. And again, like you said, like the audio wasn't good, right? Like on her, like she didn't have a microphone, but y'all added captions. But like the anger from her and from you came through. And anger's not even the right word. The passion, like she was angry and you had passion about the, in your answer. And like, yeah, so many people overthink the hell out of this. And they're like, well, we got to have like the workshop answer. It's like, no, like, what do you actually think? So no, I love it. Yeah, I'm curious. So like you've had some viral moments, including like your Stellar launch video. So I assume, I mean, I don't have the analytics on your pages, but I assume your audience is larger than Iowa. Do y'all see that as an all positive, or is it a give and take? Like, do you and your team worry about like reaching an audience beyond Iowa? Or it's like, no, that's how we win.
I have not worried about it. For me, it is about just put it out there, let people see it, and it grows organically. Is really, I mean, we do have, our staff pushes and stuff, but at the end of the day, growing organically to me is the best way to do it, because you can't always rely on everything. You want to make sure when it's organic and that's the thing about it too, is like you mentioned that one I just did was like, I think what the reason why things like that work and happen is because you mentioned it is authenticism. People, even in digital clips, are tired of like the fake. They're tired of like, they can't tell if it's AI or if it's real. They can't tell if this guy's really like this. With moments like that, you can tell it's just a real everyday conversation moment. And I think that's what grabs people's attention, is like, he's not being fake. She's not, this is a real moment in time. And I think that's what helps, is the organic nature of it really helps what we're doing here, especially when it comes to a campaign, is people don't want that fake video from a campaign. They want to see what this guy's really about.
Yeah. You've alluded to a couple already, but like what issues are you finding resonate the most for you, both online, but also like in real life? Like what are the issues that people are really like latching onto right now. Like you've got your finger to the pulse of your community in a way that like so few people have an opportunity to do. So like, yeah, what should we be talking about more as a party?
Well, I think in general, what we're seeing, what we've gathered, especially attention wise, is a lot of the stuff that's going on with, Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump doing what they're doing with our soldiers. Because for me, I can speak on it on a different level because I was a Marine and I was a soldier. I served in Iraq. I can talk about it, on a different wavelength than a lot of people. I think that's one thing in the 99 county tour that we've gotten where people were just like shocked about what they're seeing on TV, what they're hearing, what they're going through. And I think talking about those issues specifically and how we're invading our own streets and having those, I think that is something. And then the other thing that you saw with the one we just did, that we just talked about, was farmers. What happens with the tariffs, when we're talking about the impact of the Midwest and the farmers and what people are going through on the ground with tariffs, as well as this big beautiful bill, and you're seeing the cuts to Medicaid, those major issues right there, military in our streets, farmers dealing with tariffs, bankruptcies at a high rate, and then Medicaid cuts from this big beautiful bill that are like people are very worried and angry. And when you have worry and you have anger, you have attention, and you have people looking for that content to find answers and hoping that someone's talking about that. So I think if people can talk more about that and what we can do on our end to help with the tariffs or help with the, stop what we're seeing with soldiers in the streets, have those conversations organically, I think you can get those views, you can get those clicks, and you can get attention that you need. And I think that's what's really helped us out, is just, it sounds bad to say this, but this administration, these politicians are kind of throwing a softball sometimes.
Yeah. So yeah, how have you seen your digital program translate into volunteers, donors, and field turnout?
Obviously when we have good digital stuff, we see a lot. We see donations coming in. We see volunteers specifically. We see a lot of people. What sucks is how many times we see people not from Iowa going, man, I wish I could vote for this guy, or man, I'm not there, but I could volunteer. So we see people when we do our volunteer calls that coming across the country. A lot of them not from Iowa will come in and go, hey, I saw this on TikTok. I saw here. Would love to be able to just support you any way I can. If that's donations, or if that's making phone calls, if that's sending out letters, whatever it is. And that's where I think you get the most out of the digital, is the help. Because when it comes to a campaign, it's not just me doing this and speaking. It's the behind the scenes. It's the staff that work day in and day out to help me be where I am and help me get that message out.
You were the president of the Knoxville Chamber of Commerce before running for office, which is not always a path to becoming a Democratic elected official or nominee. What do you wish more chambers and business, quote unquote, business folks understood about the current political environment?
Well, I'll say this. I was the executive director.
Sorry.
And I was a one-man show. What I wish more people, especially when it comes to rural Iowa, what I wish they knew more about is when it comes to politics in rural Iowa, and when it comes to talking to small businesses, politics is not talked about. We talk about what we need to do in our communities to make our businesses better. What's going to work out to make that better? And for me, when I'm talking to businesses about trying to help, that's when the politics starts to come in. Because, for example, we're trying to figure out how we can make our businesses in Knoxville, Iowa, have employees that have reliable child care, because that's a very concerned bit. People have to leave, take care of their kids. And so in Knoxville, we created a child care solutions fund where businesses were paying in to help offset the cost of childcare and offset the cost of employees and giving them better pay. That was not political. That was people understanding there's a problem. The political part comes in when you have Kim Reynolds in Iowa, the governor, who has money coming in from the federal government that would help towards that, denying that money, and then we have to come up with our own solutions for it. So you end up not talking about politics. You end up talking about just solutions to make your community better. And that's one thing for me, is like, I like to tell everybody, for me, I'm not here to be a Democrat, independent, Republican. What I'm here is because 98% of Washington, D.C. is made up of generational wealth, and only 2% come from the working class. Mm-hmm. I'm here for proper representation of everybody. And that includes business owners that are Republicans or Democrats, because at the end of the day, we're all in this community together trying to better our lives in this rural area, this rural small area. And we can sit here and talk about Trump. We can talk about this. That's not going to fix our solutions. We working together, regardless of our political affiliation, is how we're going to get things done.
Are you finding that Republicans and independents are showing up and getting excited about you?
Yeah. Well, so we've had Republicans show up. one of my first events in Iowa City, we had a woman and a husband come up, and I tell everybody that it shocked me. They're like, I didn't know who the hell you were, Nathan, until my Trump-loving Republican son sent me your launch video and said, this is the guy I would vote for. And then we get a girl in Council Bluffs who was like, I've been a Republican since I was 17 years old. And when my mom said, the only way you stay in my house is if you are a Republican. And she came to our event and she said, Nathan, nobody's fighting for us, and you look like you're willing to fight for us. And that goes back to, I don't believe in my core belief, I don't believe it's about Republicans and Democrats. I believe it's about people. It's about all of us in this human experience going, you know what is going to make my life better right now? What is helping me right now? Who is really fighting for me? And when people hear me, meet me, and speak to me, they know that I'm just one of them. And so I think that's what resonates with people. And that's why Republicans, and we were in Northwest Iowa, reddest part of Iowa, we have independents showing up. We have, and I will tell you, the people that are most crucial or most critical about me cussing are the Republicans, by the way.
Okay. But they're fine when Trump does it, but you should never.
Yeah, it's like we were in Cherokee, Iowa, and we were at a diner, and some girl, was a Republican, she goes, loved everything you said, love it. But if you want us to vote for you, you got to stop dropping the F word. And I was like, I didn't even say it this time. So
she's been watching you online, I guess, right?
Yeah, right.
So like many before you and quite a few this cycle, you found yourself on the wrong end of the establishment. From what I've gathered, one of your initial opponents was actually pushed out of the race outright to make room for the DSCC's chosen candidate. You and at least one other candidate have obviously said thanks, but no thanks. I assume you were always going to run as an outsider, but how has getting pushed by national Dems affected your campaign?
You know, when it looks at it, I think it helps in the long run. I think people are tired, like on both of the. I'm going to just say this. I'm going to tell you it. Chuck Schumer picks candidates like Cleveland Brown pick quarterbacks. They all start out with a lot of hype, and we end up losing. The team continues to lose. And right now, we can't lose. And I think people are tired of someone on the East Coast, someone on the West Coast, especially here in Iowa, telling Iowans about who they should be voting for, why they should be voting, when actually Iowans know. And Iowans are looking for that candidate to talk about those issues that resonate with them. And what better than someone who's an Iowa working class dude that is already going through the same stuff they're going through. So for me, I look at it as a badge of honor. Like, yeah, Chuck Schumer doesn't like me. Good for him. I don't like you either. You shouldn't be leading this party. You're a coward. Let's go forward. So for me, I'm just going to keep repping that and saying, yeah, I am the outsider, and I like being the outsider. I like being the underdog, because that's what we need as an outsider. We need an underdog. We need new people, new blood, new leadership in Washington, D.C.
Hell yeah. Last cycle, I ran digital for Dan Osborne's Senate campaign in Nebraska. Y'all are very different candidates and very different people, but there's definitely a lot of overlap to how you're both approaching politics. One thing we had going for us that we were running against an awful incumbent who literally wouldn't ever talk to anyone ever. The entire campaign, she never spoke with a single person. Does not having an incumbent to run against make your life easier or harder? And would you like to take a quick victory lap for helping push Joni, We're All Gonna Die Ernst, out of her seat?
Well, I'll say this. I think it's interesting not having an incumbent now. But when you look at the Republican side of things here in Iowa, we still have Ashley Hinson, who is literally just another Joni Ernst. Same voting record, same thing. Yeah. So you can still, for me, you can still swing on the same issues. You can still talk about the same issues in the same light. And I was in the room when Joni Ernst said we were all going to die. I was at that town hall in Parkersburg, Iowa, at 7:30 in the morning on a Friday, because that's the only time they want to hold those meetings. I will say this. Am I happy that she's gone? Obviously, it's great that she's not going to run. She kept her promise, but I would have loved to go. As a veteran myself, I have so many veterans on, over my shoulder going, you need to hammer her for being on Doge and being okay with the cuts to the VA workers, because if you leave a man, we got taught you don't ever leave a man behind, and she's leaving a lot of men behind by making those cuts to the VA. So I would have loved to be able to keep hitting on that, because it pissed me off. But at the end of the day, I don't care who it is. I'm not here to necessarily battle Ashley Hinson or battle Joni Ernst. I'm here to represent people in Iowa, and I feel like that is something that has been sorely lacking, is real representation across Iowa.
I was going to ask about Ashley Hinson, but I think you covered it, so we're good on that front. What do you think Democratic strategists consistently get wrong about digital organizing or reaching voters like the ones you're talking to every day?
I think they keep trying to put videos together. I think there's a lot of it about, like I said earlier, you need to be organic. You need to be authentic. You need to be real. You need to be who you are. People want to see their candidate be who they really are as a person, because I feel like when you do that, from the way I look at it, when I'm looking at a candidate and they're coming off as fake, like, you don't know how fake that is. But when someone's talking in a reel, they get a little angry, they put a little spice to themselves, maybe a little cuss word here and there, and when they're speaking truly, and you can tell that. And I think that resonates more with people. So I would tell everybody, be that. Be who you are. I tell my kids that. Be who you really are. Don't try to be something you're not. Be who you are. And if people like it, people want it, you're going to get what you want out of that. Don't try to be somebody you're not. Don't try to be, I don't know, dancing to music you would never like. In Iowa, like, I'm a metal. I like Tool. I like Slipknot. I like Slipknot. You'll never see me line dancing. You'll never see me listening to country music and singing about my truck or my dog. I wouldn't try to do that.
Okay. Yeah. Anything? Is there anybody you're looking to for inspiration when it comes to digital, political, or otherwise, or y'all are just figuring it out as you go, one day at a time?
That's interesting. I mean, my staff, they have a lot of people they like to look at on TikTok and all the Instagram and all that stuff. For me, I love listening to sports talk, sports radio, stuff like that. I don't pattern myself as like a Stephen A, but I like his fire sometimes, obviously. So when I talk about things and I get a little fired up, it's kind of that, just because who I am. But I also like people like Rich Eisen, who are a little bit calmer and talking about issues in a different way. So for me, that's who I lean to. I don't really follow a lot of people myself. I've always been kind of just a scroller, you know what I mean? Like checking out, I don't have any favorite followers or things like that. And that's what's always funny to me is when we go to these parades, when we go to these events, and people are like, I saw you on TikTok, I saw you on this. And that's like, yeah, but like, I'm not used to people saying that.
Yeah,
I'm just used to being Nathan,
Yeah. How can folks get involved in the campaign?
SageForSenate.com. Check us out. You can volunteer there. You can donate there. You can be a part of that. And any help, we'll take it all. Cash, volunteers, whatever we can do to keep this train going, to properly represent people in Iowa. That's what we got to do. Check us out. SageForSenate.com, right on the thing right there.
Yeah, for the YouTube folks, it's been on the wall the whole time if you didn't notice it.
And we're on every platform. We're on social media, obviously, everywhere. So check us out on there. Follow us. Share our videos. Like, put it out there. Let people know. The biggest thing, like I said earlier, is just getting my Nathan Sage name and my hairy mug, fat mug out there. That is what we have to do, so people know what we're fighting for and what I'm about.
Hell yeah. I really appreciate you taking the time. And yeah, this was really fun. And it's always fun to get to like talk to people who I've been like watching their content and like whatnot, like getting to ask you questions. It's like, well, I started the podcast because I'm just such a nerd for this stuff. And this was great. I really enjoyed it. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. This was fun.
That does it for another episode of Hello Merge Tag. Thanks so much for listening. Know anyone who might appreciate this podcast? Please share it with them today. Find all episodes at hellomergetag.com or wherever you stream podcasts. Have questions or want to connect? Drop us a line at hello@reverbalcommunications.com. Until next time, keep on telling your story.